Fans of BattleTech, Clan Omnimex, and fancy miniatures, thank you very much for joining me for a model unboxing and review. I hope you're all well, and today I thought we would do something a little bit different. Many years ago on channel Leaky Cheese, I did do a video where I looked at some of my old BattleTech miniatures. And BattleTech is currently undergoing quite the renaissance following the final banishment of the Harmony Gold copyright troll. And yes, I've been getting back into the game somewhat. What I've got today to look at is one of the premium miniatures that is produced by Catalyst Games. So currently there's two types of miniatures that are produced. There are the regular ones, which are the pre-assembled ones that come in packs of 4, 5, 6, or even more in some cases. Proliferation cycle, I'm looking at you. Then there's a premium miniatures, and we have one today, and that is this. This is a Stormcrow Innisphere reporting codename, Ryoken, E and TC variants. It says all, but this kit includes components for both. So what we get is, we get a bag of resin bits. I'm going to take a look at it. So a little bit on the back. So there is the assembled model. This is the TC version, which has got 4 ER medium lasers on one arm and a Gauss rifle on the other. And there's a little bit about it there. This premium miniature includes multiple optional parts allowing you to determine the exact pose you want for this stunning model on your gaming table. These are a bit hard to come by in the United Kingdom where I live. They're actually very difficult to come by. They're not expensive. This is sold for $12. I paid £10 for it. But you can't get them in the UK. Well, you can, but Catalyst Games charge £100 flat servicing charge on any international shipping order. So to buy from the States, this will cost me $12 or well, £10 plus £100 shipping, which is absolutely insane. I shipped a Thunderhawk gunship to California for not a lot more than that, and that weighed about 8 kilos. This weighs more like 80 grams. Anyway, that aside, we've got one thanks to a friend who was at Essen Game Show a couple of months back, and I thought I would share this. So this is the standard model that you buy as part of one of the Clan Force packs. That is a Stormcrow Prime, and this is a fancy one. So without further ado, let's get inside. What I'm going to do in this video is we're going to open this up, we're going to have a look at the parts, take a look at the details, and just generally appraise the quality and see what it's about. So in we go. So yes, it does that. And then it's just a simple bag. I mean, this is very simple, and they're obviously not spending a lot on packaging here, which is probably good. So let's start at the beginning, I guess. You get a base. This is cast of the same sort of resin compound as the rest of the miniature, as opposed to the hard plastic black bases. Looking at it, I mean, this looks okay. Definitely some cleanup to do around the edges. There's some 3D master printing artifacts to sand off there. And there's a corner that's been dinked there, which will require another one there. So a bit of work to do to get this base into a pristine condition. So let's start with the torso. So this is the first time I've really had a good look at one of these models. So this is quite a spontaneous and off-the-cuff assessment on the quality. So what do I think? Well, I mean, it's clean, it's crisp. Detail is noticeably sharper than the plastics. Definitely cleanup to do. You can see mold lines, mold seams running here and there. There's one there. I think that's a mold seam there. Key there. I don't know the process by which they make these. Yeah, quite intriguing. Right, let's start. So we'll start with the locomotory end of this BattleMech and the source of the options. So the Ryoken has got very distinctive sort of bird legs, and you get 2 legs, 2 left, 2 right legs, which allow you to put it into different poses. So I'm going to have to choose which I like. I think there's going to be a standy still pose probably, and then a stalking pose, and I'm probably going to go for the stalking pose. So it's nice to get these options. Now, quality. So definitely a noticeable mold line running all the way around that leg. What about this leg? So there's a casting gate there. Some 3D printer master artifacts there, which weren't cleaned up on the original, so those want to come off. Quite a big mold slip there. Not terrible, I suppose, on the underside of the leg. Other two legs. Similar to the first one. It's going to be interesting to see how this resin works. So there's quite a lot of cleanup to do on these. Yeah, I mean, just look at that. I think there might be a bit of warping there. I'm guessing that some heat can be applied to bend this, as you can with most cast resins, or even, well, even injected resins. So legs, they're okay. There's quite a bit of cleanup to do there for sure. Let's see how we do with the arms. Well, before the arms, let's do the waist and the hips. So again, you can see that there's a mold seam that runs around this back to front. I mean, it's not the best place to put the mold line, so it runs right across that detail. That's going to be an absolute pain to clean up. Not the best. That would have been better if he'd possibly gone around this way. I don't know. It would have been better still if they'd got it lined up properly. That is really what we want. So I'll see how I go with cleaning that up. I mean, I'll probably get it looking okay, so I tend to, but it would be nice not to have that. Right, so weapons. Let's start with B configuration. That was it. So the B configuration was originally featured in Technical Readout 3050, The Return of Kerensky. And this takes what is in effect not that, but this, a somewhat Nova Prime-like hexagonal type. Well, it's not hexagonal now. It's a 6 set of ER medium lasers on the left arm. So a lot of medium range punch here. ER medium lasers are one of the workhorse weapons of the clans. And on the right arm, we have the formidable Ultra Autocannon Class 20. And this mech is very much a fast assault striker type mech. The Stormcrow is a fast moving mech. It's got the heat sinks. It's got the speed to get this autocannon into play quickly. So good. So these look pretty decent actually. There's still cleanup to do all the way around. Those are better than the legs. Not bad. So the next, or the second weapon configuration that comes in this kit is what's called the TC. I don't know what TC means. I do know where it comes from. This is from the 2020 Tukyid campaign book. So this is a Generation 2 Tukyid campaign book. And the TC variant, it's similar to the B, but instead of a close-range assault gun in the Ultra AC-20, it goes for a long-range smash cannon in the form of a Gauss rifle. And this is a Gauss rifle. So how is that? Not bad. Again, quite a bit of cleanup to do. These plastic miniatures, the ones I had, there was a lot of cleanup and they took forever to do, even by my standards of patience for cleaning up miniatures. And I have a considerable well of patience for cleaning up models. I found these somewhat tedious at times. The material as well is a bit odd, and perhaps we'll talk about that later. Let's have a look at the laser arm. So on the TC variant, which was a smoked Jaguar configuration originally, instead of 6 ER mediums, it has 4, so it has to cut those down because of the weight of a Gauss rifle. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's a nice design, looks good. I feel some fun with magnets coming on. So I think we can, whichever legs we use, we can magnetize this. That's just a little look on the TC. But yes, this came from the 2020 Tukyid campaign, Battle for Tukyid rewrite book. And it was described as a configuration that was in use by the Smoked Jaguars and other clans, but was first encountered on Tukyid in the battles with the Communards. So, there you go. A little bit of a perhaps rambling examination of the parts and look at the details and the quality. I mean, design And look, yep, great. It's in modern design language, the Scroggins era, as it may be characterized. So it does look good. Nice to get 2 poses with the legs. That adds some value to the model for sure. And 2 really good configurations for use in the game, both the B and the TC. ER medium laser, Gauss rifle, tracing 20, they are a good weapon mix for the Stormcrow. Quality-wise, I would say this is very mid in terms of casting quality. There is a lot of cleanup to do here, certainly to get it to the point of being free of manufacturing artifacts. And on that point, what I'm going to go do now is clean this model up, assemble it, do the magnets, and then we'll come back and look at the final finished piece and compare it and contrast that a bit with plastic, well, plastic inverted commas version that you get in the force packs.
1 day later.
And here we are, one completed premium Stormcrow. So, yeah, a very handsome looking miniature. Let's have a little look around it. I mean, it's the same design as the standard Stormcrow in terms of like the general features and style. Obviously, the arm-mounted weapons are different, and we've got this unique set of legs. It does come with a pair of alternate legs, these two, as we looked at while we're unpacking it. Those give a very conventional stance. I decided to go with these here, with the mech in mid-step stalking forward. And, you know, perhaps it does look a bit crow-like, as the mech is named the Stormcrow. The detail is noticeably sharper than the standard plastic models. And so certainly in that aspect, you can say that the premium model is indeed, well, a premium or superior to the standard plastic one. So yeah, that does they have been successful in that regard in terms of the sharpness of the detail. So this is the TC variant, and you're probably already guessing that I've done some magnetization. So this is armed with a Gauss rifle and 4 ER medium lasers. So this is a Smoke Jaguar variant from Operation Revival, perhaps a bit earlier, that was used by all clans in the invasion in small numbers. And then we have the B configuration, which is the very potent Ultra AC-20 and 6, no less than 6 ER medium lasers. So another big gun mech backed up by a battery of arm-mounted ER medium lasers. Yeah, looks good. Some nice details on the barrel of the Ultra Auto Cannon. So it's like a 3-barreled rapid-firing high-bore auto cannon. Yeah, I do like that. So in general terms, as a premium miniature, in terms of a final look, I think, yeah, this model is a success. The detail is notably sharper than the standard model, and you get a set of legs as an option, and you get the alternate weapon configuration. So let's talk a bit about the build. In terms of cleanup, this model is quite a difficult one to clean up, and that is entirely on account of the material it's made from. Now, these plastic models are made from some sort of, it's a type of plastic polymer, I think. It's difficult to clean up, but you can use liquid polystyrene cement, Tamiya Ultra Thin, to smooth off burrs, or airbrush cleaner from Tamiya. That's the same chemical, which helps a lot with getting a good finish. This stuff, though, it's got a bit of flexibility with it, as you can probably gather. There's a little bit of movement here. So it's not a hard resin, and yeah, it's really quite difficult to work with in terms of sanding it and filing it. It's somewhat rubbery, so it's a real pain to file down. It cuts okay. It doesn't scrape so well. Cleanup was, yeah, it was a bit of a chore. Yeah, not that easy. There's quite a lot of mold slippage on the model, which took a fair amount of time to remove. If the model had been cast out of a harder resin, it would have been much easier to clean up and finish. So yeah, that was one challenge of it. Another challenge is, unlike normal resins that you get with miniatures, you can't heat this up and bend it. And I had a couple of issues because this base is slightly warped. The leg, which when I unboxed it, I thought was warped. No, it's actually intentional, and that's part of this pose. So that was fine. But the foot was warped. The toes were warped up, so they didn't sit properly. And to get around that, I heated it up to bend it. Now, in the process of doing that, it actually broke here. So this is quite brittle stuff, and I had to pin it and glue it back together. We'll come back to that in a moment. And the feet, even though I heated it up to bend it, it didn't actually have any impact. This stuff, you can actually heat and bend it. So if parts are misplaced or out of position, you can get around that to a degree. This stuff, no. So yeah, it's not the best. I'm not keen on it as a material. I would rank it probably below Finecast, in all fairness, in terms of ease of use and cleanup. Probably a bit harder to, it is harder to clean up than Citadel Finecast. So yeah, it's not the nicest material to work with. Post-production leaky cheese here. So I have a bit more information to share with you regarding what the material is on the Stormcrow Premium miniature from Catalyst. After a post on Reddit yesterday, someone suggested that this is made by the Cyocast process, which I found very interesting, and I did a quick bit of digging on Cyocast, looking on their product page, and the material they describe being used is a thermoplastic. So that would explain why it has the undesirable qualities it does, insofar as it won't react with polystyrene cement and you can't heat bend it. So yeah, is it Cyocast? I don't know for certain. If anyone does, please share it in the comments. In terms of gluing it together, just use super glue. That's straightforward. Because it's quite thin, and as I found out, it's quite brittle, I drilled a pin in the foot, which runs about halfway up the leg, past this slightly fragile part of the ankle. So I repaired it that way. These feet, I basically just had to glue under the toe and then zap it with accelerator to get it to hold, which worked. Not the easiest material to work with or put together. If the moulding quality was better and you had fewer seams, it would be less of an issue. But because there were quite a few and things like this base was warped, those characteristics of the material came into play. I don't quite understand why they cast the base out of the same material when they have perfectly serviceable moulds and production facilities for hard plastic bases. Why not cut this bit out and ship this model with one of these hard plastic bases where you don't have issues with warping? That is a clear area where they could improve this model. And all these premium miniatures are all the same, I think. But that aside, I mean, it went together fine. Super glue holds it together well. For the arms, I magnetise them. These are 3x2mm N35 grade neodymium magnets. And I just drilled those out and put a magnet in each side of the torso and each arm. Because it's quite rubbery, it's not the easiest material to mount magnets into, but yeah, I got there in the end. So that's the build process and what it was like. So there we go. So we've got the final model and a few thoughts around assembling it. So let's now wrap up my thoughts on the Stormcrow Premium miniature, Stormcrow Ryoken B or TC variants from Catalyst. So overall, what do I think? I think price-wise, it's actually surprisingly well priced for what it is. I paid £10 for this. I checked on the Catalyst website and they're currently sold for $15. $15, it's not terrible prices for what you get, I suppose, for a small, detailed resin miniature. If you imagine this thing sold by, say, Forge World, it will probably cost more like £30 or £35. I think the pricing is fine. The detail is good. It looks good. The detail is sharp and crisp. And in the main, it was well cast, well formed. There were a few defects at the end of this toe here. Basically, it hadn't properly cast. It was like a loose flappy bit, so I had to rebuild that with super glue. There was another area on one of the arms where the surface delaminated, so I had to run some super glue into it to get it to reattach. I don't know if I'm able to see it now, so I hid it away. So there were a couple of production faults. Again, the cleanup is not particularly easy. Firstly, because you've got quite a lot of mold slippage, and then this material is not very nice to work with using files and knives. It's it's not the best in that regard. It's nice to get the options for the parts. Yeah, that's also good. So, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of torn on this one because it's clearly a step up on the plastic models you get in the force packs. You know, without a doubt. I mean, these are good. You know, they're fairly affordable. They only cost like £4 or £5 each, depending where you buy them. So this costing double and a bit, I guess, for what it is as more of a modeler orientated product with some customization capability. Price wise, yeah, it's priced fine and even quite keenly. I'm just put off by the material itself, which wasn't that fun to work with. If the casting process was of a higher precision and you didn't have any cleanup to do, then I wouldn't really have any issues with the material. But overall, yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with this overall. I'm very pleased with the final model. I just wish it had been a bit easier to clean it up and assemble it and put it together. There is, though, one final observation with regards to premium miniatures and the material, and that is, and this sort of goes with what I said about earlier, that screenshot I put up earlier about the cost of delivery from the US via Catalyst, you know, $130 odd. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. I don't know why they're charging that. Now, Ironwind Metals sell a version of this mech. They call it the Premium Stormcrow. It's cast in metal, and it comes with the arm options. I don't know if you get the legs. I think it comes with just those legs. But you get the arms, so it's essentially the same model. I think it costs $18. And yeah, I can't help but wonder, is that the true premium product if you're wanting a fancier, more modeler-orientated model from the new BattleTech range? Do you go to Ironwind Metals? A little bit more expensive, so like 10%, 15% more expensive. You're getting much easier to work with medium in the metal. You're not going to have silly issues like delamination and the leg breaking and the fragile material. And from a UK buyer perspective as well, they don't charge absurd prices for delivery. So yes, there's a thought there as to whether or not is this a true premium product, or, you know, do you go to Ironwind Metals? I don't know. Just a bit of food for thought there. Hello, it's post-production Leaky Cheese II here. Another thing came out of my discussion on Reddit recently about the premium Stormcrow miniature, and that's to do with the placement of the weapons on the arm. Now, here we have the record sheet for the Stormcrow-TC taken from the 2020 Tuckiad book. You will note, as is being highlighted by the red marker, that the Gauss rifle is mounted in the left arm and the laser in the right. The same is true of the autocannon version, autocannon in the left and lasers in the right. Let us move to Exhibit 2. On the left we have my Stormcrow-TC Premium miniature. On the right we have the prototype version that is advertised on Catalyst's product page. Can you spot the problem? That's right, they've got the arms the wrong way around on this model. I don't know what has gone on. But yeah, that's a bit of a screw up, that. And something that Catalyst should really put right. Just, you know, if you're selling a premium model, it should have left and right sorted out properly. Interestingly, you may have noticed as well that Ironwind Metals model gets the arm weapon configuration done correctly. Anyway, so there you have it. The Stormcrow Ryoken TC and B OmniMech variants for BattleTech. I hope you found this an interesting review, and look at this very handsome looking model, warts and all. Please do share your thoughts and observations down in the comment section. You know, are you a fan of BattleTech? Have you got into the new miniature ranges? Do you like the premium miniatures? Have you had any of the models from Ironwind Metals, the new generation models, which use the same designs as the plastic ones but cast in metal? How have you found those? What's your experience been like with those? As always, I'll be very interested to hear your comments. If you're interested in me doing some more BattleTech miniatures content, let me know as well. So I've got Mercenaries coming from a Kickstarter soon. So I think there'll be some good content to do around that. But other than that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.